Round 8, Crawford and Gamboa.
Ears. Still throwing punches.
Okay, Gamboa's going to get to this lead foot, fold out his jab, and we're going to see Crawford catch that first one. Now, Gamboa is doubling it up, but watch Crawford. He's going to look to catch and then counter.
All right, here we go to round number 8, the Colonel Bond Sheridan.
Now, Gamboa's going to feint his folding jab, then look to throw his lead hook, but Crawford had a similar idea, but without the feint. Then we're going to have Gamboa looking for lead hand control again, as they're both looking to reset.
Larry Merchant has been a puncher, watching Top Rank Boxing. We're at the CenturyLink Center in Omaha, Nebraska. The home of the guy in the black trunks, Terence Crawford.
So Gamboa's going to feint high, then go to the body with his lead as Crawford pulls. Now this time he's going to show high, bring his rear cross, but this rear cross is just to get to this lead foot so he could throw a leaping jab. He's going to follow up with the rear cross, and we're going to see Crawford drop. Crawford's going to go ahead and shift this rear foot back, putting him in an orthodox stance so he could throw this rear uppercut as Gamboa is going to the body with his lead. Gamboa's going to continue right, left, and then Crawford's going to bob down over this lead foot. We have a tie-up and a break.
You know, Crawford is ambidextrous. I mean, his turning southpaw is not a tactic for a moment to try to confuse his opponent.
No, he trains to do that. And that's
All right, Gamboa's going to flash his lead, push off his rear foot, throwing it overhand, and Crawford's going to look to time him coming in. Then Gamboa's going to push off that rear foot again. He's going to feint his hook, and then Crawford is going to let his check hook loose. Little lead hand control and some movement.
different from what I talk about all the time, and he's successful at it. I mean, he got Gamboa in trouble when he was fighting as a southpaw.
All right, Crawford will snap off his jab as Gamboa parries and then pulls. More movement. And some more lead hand control. Both are looking to reset.
It just struck me funny that he turned back right-handed when he was in the process of pummeling him. But that's okay. If a guy trains that way, that's what. And as you said, the guy is ambidextrous. It's different from a guy using it for any other.
Now Crawford's going to throw a leaping jab as Gamboa parries. Then Crawford's going to push off this rear foot, snap off a jab, catching Gamboa. Then we're going to get this little rear foot step up from Crawford. Again, snapping off a jab, and then check out this rear end catch by Gamboa and the little drop. Crawford's going to follow up with a jab, rear cross, and we're going to see Gamboa parry it to the inside. Again, some movement. Lead hand control, looking to reset.
Round 8 action continues. Slowed down just a bit in terms of the amount of punches being landed by either fighter.
Gamboa has stopped being aggressive.
Yeah, I don't think he's thrown a punch this round, Larry.
So Gamboa's going to push off that rear foot, throwing a rear cross to the body, and we're going to see Crawford catch it over his lead foot. Now here comes another rear foot step up by Crawford. Gamboa's going to pull that jab, looking to counter with his hook, and then Crawford's going to counter the counter with his own check hook.
You know, it's one punch at a time.
All right, Crawford's going to go over the top with his jab, and we're going to see Gamboa counter with his rear cross as Crawford pulls square. Crawford's going to get back to this lead foot, fire off a jab, and we're going to see Gamboa parry it right here, and then fold out his own jab. Crawford's going to pull, counter back with his lead. Then Crawford's going to throw his rear straight as Gamboa drops. And then we get some high guard.
Hoping something happened and making something happen.
Okay, so Gamboa is going to push off this rear foot, throw a rear hook, and we're going to see Crawford catch it on his lead foot. Crawford will fold out a couple jabs, rear straight. Now, Gamboa is going to come out of his high guard, push off this rear foot for a lead hook, and we're going to see Crawford look for his check hook. Gamboa's going to come back with that jab rear cross. We saw Crawford drop. Now, right here, since his weight is over his rear foot, Crawford has the ability to step with his lead foot back as Gamboa looks to double up with his rear hand.
But you can't count him out. Crawford's never been in with somebody like this, and until he does it, he hasn't done it.
Now Gamboa's going to fold out his jab. Then he's going to look for another one, and Crawford's going to push off his rear foot with a lead hook, and then he's going to follow up with a rear uppercut. Then Gamboa's going to flash his lead right here, throw the rear cross to the body as Crawford catches it on his lead foot. Some movement.
Yeah, and by the way, with all that said, there's only 2 points in my score sheet separating the two fighters. And the whole difference in the fight is the knockdown. Back in the 5th round.
So this is interesting. Crawford's going to feint the hook, throw the jab. But Gamboa is looking for first contact. He pushed off his rear foot, threw a rear cross to the body. We'll have a tie-up. Now right here, Gamboa is looking for a lead hook off the break.
So while the crowd in attendance is going virtually nuts, I don't know how far.
All right, Gamboa's going to throw his jab, rear cross, and Crawford's going to catch both on his lead foot. Gamboa's going to throw a rear hook to the body, and Crawford's going to roll to his lead foot. Then we have a little bit of a tie-up. Ooh, hit off the break.
How far ahead Crawford really is on the score sheets. He's ahead.
Well, I don't know if there's a home fit, if there's necessarily going to be a hometown advantage, but there shouldn't be a hometown disadvantage.
Okay, Gamboa's going to throw his rear overhand, but let's hone in on Crawford. He's going to move all his weight to this lead foot, catching it there. And this is neat. Crawford's going to get back to this lead foot, throw out his rear straight as Gamboa's thrown his rear overhand. And check this out. Crawford bobbed down over that lead foot. He's going to throw a lead hook to the body and then catch the counter hook from Gamboa. Gamboa's chasing him down. He's going to throw his rear cross, lead hook, rear uppercut. And then they're going to time each other. Crawford's going to go to the body, Gamboa to the head. Crawford's going to pull that rear cross from Gamboa, throw a rear uppercut. Gamboa parries, throw this rear cross, and then Crawford's going to catch him with this rear straight. He's going to pull the counter, again, catch him with this check hook, then rear hook. Down he goes. We get a count from the ref. Back at it.
He'll get credit for everything he does at the very least.
Oh, here's Gamboa in the process of landing some shots. Now, he dropped him, hit him with the right hand and the left hand, and the knee went down.
As soon as Gamboa got offensive, Crawford dropped him.
Now Crawford's going to throw a lead hook to the body. He's going to catch this hook from Gamboa on his lead foot.
Again.
You said that he'd take risk, and he had to take risk, and it hurt him.
So Crawford's going to do a rear foot step up, throw his lead hook, and Gamboa's looking for his catch and counter. Crawford's going to go ahead and follow up with that rear cross. We see Gamboa pull. Gamboa's going to throw his rear cross, and Crawford's going to catch that on his lead foot, and then he's going to counter out with his lead hook. He goes to the body right here. Crawford's going to go ahead and bob down under the counter hook from Gamboa, and then he's going to follow him back with this rear cross.
So Gamboa has been down twice in the fight now, but that changes the whole.
All right, Gamboa's going to get to this lead foot, throw a jab rear cross, and we're going to see Crawford slip in over his lead foot, throw a lead hook to the body. Then right here, Gamboa's going to control the back of Crawford's head.
Complexion of the fight right now, because Gamboa is still out on his feet.
Okay, Gamboa's going to throw his rear overhand, but let's hone in on Crawford. He's going to catch that on his lead foot, and then he's going to counter out with his hook, follow up with a rear uppercut, and then another lead hook, rear hook. Now Gamboa's going to come back with these jab, rear cross, hook, and then rights and lefts. Now right here, Crawford is sitting on that lead foot. He's going to counter out with a lead hook, rear hook. And then we're going to see Gamboa drop after this last shot from Crawford. And that will do it for round 8.
Not a lot of time left in this 8th round. There he is again. And he got hurt again as Gamboa was